An aha moment. I'm here to share my educational journey with you. That was a clip from Natural Mystic by legendary Bob Marley. If music be the food of love, play on, says William Shakespeare. However, this is a gratitude PowerPoint presentation that will share some surprises about my educational journey as well as acknowledge all the support throughout my very long and rigorous educational journey.
Are receiving the Doctor of Professional Studies from the Alden March Bioethics Institute. All graduates will be hooded by Chair and Director of the Alden March Bioethics Institute, Dr. Megan Applewhite. Dr. Christina Achebe.
Aha, an official recognition and humility there. I enjoyed that crowning. Dr. Chris Achebe. I continually rise higher like a lion in Zion. The years spent in the study of various aspects of bioethics profession was well worth it. The final year was capped with clinical practicum, capstone project, my dissertation project, and also the nerve-wracking three-piece oral defense of my final exit exam. First one is the Texas Do Not Resuscitate Law, and secondly, the emerging field of oncofertility, and of course, details of my dissertation project. It was a well worth experience for me. I cannot trade it for anything else. COVID pandemic notwithstanding, it was actually a blessing to be home and be able to accomplish much more work during the safety lockdown and social distancing. I seized that opportunity quite well and made it near perfect. Yes, when life gives you lemon, make lemonade. I have so many people to thank. I'm so grateful. This graduate is very, very grateful to a lot of people. And I'll start the list with my readers, Professor Avril Earl and Professor Samuel Denise Rees. These are very patient readers that went through my qualitative project and which addressed the culture of silence surrounding unplanned pregnancy and abortion. It also advocates to decriminalize abortion, resulting hopefully in decrease of maternal mortality in Nigeria. The project morphed into a voluntary web-based platform that is a work in progress titled BioChoice Advocacy Group. I confess it was an emotionally draining topic to write on because everyone, men, children, the pregnant woman who did not want the pregnancy, the entire family is wounded from an unplanned pregnancy and possible abortion. And yes, you might relate through your actions or inactions to a brother or a sister's plight with unplanned pregnancy. We live in a world where it's almost unavoidable. It is on this premise that I argue nearly most adults know someone who has been saddled with unwanted pregnancy, and my question is, what did you do? How did you help? How would you help if you have not been faced with the issue? Now, during my research write-up, I gathered that thousands of adolescent girls and women in Nigeria either end up with multiple health complications or are deceased in the hands of unlicensed individuals who operate clandestine abortion shacks. These shacks, or suites, have become a huge business, as a matter of fact. Sad, Nigeria legislate abortion law on colonial era regime. The draconian law carries up to 14 years in prison. However, the patriarchy and religiosity of the nation makes the law nearly impossible to be enforced. It's on that note that I ask again, would you agree that a change is overdue on this critical women health issue? Folks, I am a professional in the healthcare business, and I dare say there is no health without rights. Given our individuality, our diversity, and socioeconomic class, would you agree that moral consideration is not enough? An ethical approach is essential. Please kindly ponder on these questions while I continue with my gratitude list at this time. Next are my community sisters, Dr. Attorney Madu and Dr. Mary Akpovi. These scholarly, seasoned mentors were not only encouraging, but answered stream of my endless questions and sometimes argument pro bono. Yes, they are also very, very tuned to my passion. And then there's my incomparable darling children, Ifani Olivia Mordi, my tech genius and witty analyst, and of course my son Ekene Alex Mordi, whose surprises refine the fire of success with a zeal to get to the finish line. I did interview guests and some friends, good friends as well. And this is after scaling the Institutional Review Board requirements on rights and welfare of human research projects. Some of my guests are Mr. Edward Way, Miss Christine Okolo, Mr. Sam Inyinaya, Mrs. Franca Olia, Dr. Martha Mosier, Mr. Charles, and Mrs. Dr. Ebele Rose Umoye. Many of my other volunteers did not want to be mentioned. They'd rather remain anonymous, and that's fine. I also want to thank Kaiser Permanente KP Human Resource Department for always making available my educational stipend at the end of the year, whatever I'm entitled to get. And of course, my KP fellow members at the Bioethics Committee. I learned so much from our dialogues. And KP Medical Library staff, and then Schiffer Albany Medical Library staff as well. And there's also the Hastings Bioethics Research Institute publications. I was able to gather a lot of my articles and borrowed some books from these great resource areas just mentioned, libraries and the Hastings publications. Now, I cannot finish this without mentioning the fact that the legendary Bob Marley's philosophical musical collections kept me tuned to meditation and to study easily. I kind of started the opening with the mystical music. If I didn't, I think I can give you a little clip of that right now. Let's see if I can get to it just briefly. Here we go. There we go. These are the kinds of music, some of them lyrical, that kept me going. Yes, it's a clip titled, what is it? Natural Mystic. All right, enough of that. This is not a musical compilation. I cannot really survive without music, to be honest with you, music and prayer. So back to utmost gratitude to the invisible, omnipresent, omnipotent Lord of all and teacher of mine, Jesus Christ. He kept me in his presence with unconditional love and continuously feeding me with good words. Indulge me to share. There was no opportunity for Chris to attend a high school or secondary school as is known in some countries like Nigeria. Yes, Chris has no record of that essential educational stage anywhere in the world. But so what? Yeah, our personal stories of hardships become so what, as long as you keep at your goals and find a way to thrive. And so I rise higher like a lion in Zion. Now, the Albany Medical College 184th commencement ceremony is also, the link is also included in case you want to watch this. That's what you're seeing on this slide as well. Should you be interested, kindly click on it. And I also included a cover page of my dissertation project for your attention. Content of the booklet focused on the complex journey surrounding beginning of life. Now, if you are interested in the subject and would like to read up on my humble opinion, kindly share your contact information either via email, WhatsApp, Facebook, LinkedIn, or any other method of communication, and I'll get a copy to you. Your suggestions and critique can only strengthen my resolve to continually carry out best healthcare educational practices and options, as I have done for 24 years as a healthcare professional. I dare say I am also engaged in some voluntary work. Pre-COVID, I did quite a bit of that, last of which was volunteering at a pregnancy counseling center in the San Fernando Valley area. And there's also an international medical mission in Mexico, San Blas, I believe it's called San Blas, Sinaloa, Mexico area, with some great doctors. I think they call them Flying Doctors of Mercy. So there's much work to be done. I was so thrilled to read of so many congratulatory messages from so many friends dating back to the 80s, where I worked at National Institute for Medical Research, Radio Nigeria, Lagos, even NTA, where I freelanced for a while, and also St. Dominic's Catholic Church, Yaba, where I worshipped, all in the 80s. Good to keep in touch with these wonderful friends. There are also my domain, Los Angeles domain friends, and the other parts of the world that reached out and congratulated me and encouraged me. I am so thankful for your thoughtful words of encouragement and prayers. Your encouragement means so much to me. I don't have the right words to really express how I felt reading through your comments and likes and so on. With utmost humility, thank you. Thank you. Your steadfast support is appreciated. The Leo in me speaks of hope and believes that when life puts you in tough situations, don't say why me, just say try me. And so to all of the graduating class of 2022, Mazel Tov. Like they say, when you face challenges with zeal, there will be a way to overcome. May you rise above all of your challenges. Shalom. Gratitude to my darling children and our dear friend, Mr. Edward Way from Toronto, Canada. Mr. Edward has been part of our family since the 1990s. He was not just at the event commencement ceremony to watch, but he volunteered as a photographer. These are some of his amazing photos, much more photos in my archive. I am grateful to you and yours, Mr. Way. Thank you. A bit of musing on this slide. Here are my 2 cents on health, interest, and passion. My passion is to qualify for permanent resident in the heavenly realm after this earthly experience. Now, one of my hobbies is traveling, amongst others. And glad to share, I have been around the world, places of interest that is, because traveling liberates the mind. In Mozambique and South Africa, I remember I picked up the word a luta continua. The struggle continues in life. The Mozambican had used it during the Frelimo independence struggle to gain independence. That said, if traveling or any other passion or interest is your cup of tea, get to it while you physically can. Do not wait till you retire, because time is of the essence. Folks, be deliberate. Live in the moment in pursuit of what speaks to your conscience. On the subject of conscience and ethics, I was appalled by the recent leak on the plot to overthrow Roe v. Wade from the Supreme Court. To think that one of the essential healthcare services for women may be obliterated at the federal level after decades of access by women is unconscionable. Having volunteered my services at Pregnancy Counseling Center, I grasp the plight of women suffering anxiety, abandonment, abuse firsthand. Abortion debate is right up my alley. I still dangle on the invisible divisive line of the pro and the con side, and of course choice as well. It's supposed to be an individual decision guided by ethics and moral. There will be subsequent presentation from me on this subject. However, for the present, I will hold my peace. After all, life is short and death is sure. And moreover, this PowerPoint is a salute to you, my cheerleaders, both silent and obvious. So glad to have shared my aha moments with you. To the young, long life and prosperity, and to the seasoned, good health and treasure. Aluta continua. Shalom.